Okay, so another one that we might have is matching sentence endings. Good, yes, sentence completion. Yep. So sentence endings, otherwise known as sentence completion. Remember though, there are two types of sentence completion. Some sentence completions, they don't give you the endings, they just give you the gap. It's a gap fill, so you have to answer with one or two words. Yeah. Whereas matching sentence endings, you're pairing them up. So you have a list in A and then a list in B, and you have to pair them together. And the last one that you may have is matching paragraph information. Questions. Information questions. So what type of question do you think this is, matching paragraph information? What are you expected to do here? So matching paragraph information, what do you think they're asking you to do? Naming the title of the paragraph? No, that would be called the title completion. So you're not naming the paragraph. So remember, in all matching ones, you will be given the answer. It will already be written down somewhere, and you would have to find the correct one. So matching paragraph information is they will give you some information in the question, and then the information that you need to match it to is found in the paragraph in the text. So you need to find the specific information which it correlates to. Okay. Right, so today we're going to have a look at matching headings in particular. Okay, so for this type of question, what's the aim? What are they testing for in this type of question? Why do they put this on the test? So what are they testing for? To know if you understand the thoughts of the paragraph. Yes, so basically they're testing if you understand the main idea of the paragraph or paragraphs. Yeah. So main ideas of the paragraphs. And as part of this, it's testing whether you can identify the differences between the main sentences and the supporting sentences. So just like in your writing, where you have your topic sentence, and then the rest of the paragraph are your supporting sentences, it'll be the same in the reading. So if you look at the structure of each paragraph in the readings, it doesn't matter what the topic is, the structure will be the same. So you'll always have some form of a main sentence or topic sentence, and then the rest are the supporting sentences. And then sometimes if it's a long paragraph, you might have a concluding sentence as well. Okay, so that's essentially what they're testing for, whether you can understand the main idea of the paragraph and basically to identify the main idea from the supporting sentences. Okay, so let's have a look. So, what should you do first then in this type of question? Should you read the text first, or should you look at the headings first? Check the headings first. Okay, I personally agree. I think you should check the headings first. But some people prefer to skim read first. You kind of just need to work out what works for you. Some people prefer skim reading so they get an overall idea of the paragraphs, whereas some people prefer to look at the headings first. So my advice is for you to practice both. Yeah, so sometimes do skimming first. So practice both, and then when you practice, you can tell which one you prefer and which one you're more comfortable with. There isn't a right or wrong way of doing this. It's just whatever works for you. Some people struggle to skim, so I don't advise them to skim before looking at the headings because they end up wasting too much time. But if you're quite good at skimming already and you can do it quite quickly, then by all means you can skim. So definitely try both when you're practicing. Try as many different ways as you can and see what works best for you. Okay, so we talked about skimming. What exactly is skimming? So whether you do this first, if you do this first or if you do this second, what is it? What's the purpose of skimming? So when we skim, what exactly are we looking for? Yeah, so you're looking at the main idea, the main thoughts of the paragraph. So looking. Okay. And how do we only look for the main idea? Some people, when they skim, they tend to read everything. Is that correct? No, good. Okay, so what should you do instead? Okay, so for skimming, as you said, we're looking for the main idea. So in order to do that, you should read the first sentence of the paragraph. Okay, so if we read this first sentence, what are we reading? What type of sentence is the first sentence usually? Not the headings, because remember, you're trying to match the headings. So the headings are in a list. But if you read the first sentence of a paragraph, what type of sentence is that? Okay, so reading the first sentence is usually the topic sentence. So remember the other week when we looked at writing and we talked about topic sentences, it gives you the overall idea, yes? And the rest of the sentences are just supporting that idea. Yeah. So when you're reading, or when you're skimming, I should say, is you should really only read the first sentence, maybe the first two if it's a long paragraph. Okay. Again, if it's quite a long paragraph, you may want to read the last sentence as well. because that might be a concluding sentence. So a concluding sentence, again, would give some sort of summary, some form of summary. Okay, but definitely read the first sentence. And if it's a long paragraph, then read the last sentence as well. You should be able to understand the gist of the first sentence. Okay, so if you can understand the gist, then it means you're doing the skimming well. You shouldn't need to read the main bulk of the paragraph. So 90% of the paragraph you shouldn't have to read when you're skimming. Okay, remember, you're just getting the overall idea. Okay, and with skimming, it's a quick process. Yeah, this needs to be as quick as possible. So when you're preparing and when you're doing your self-study practice at home, put a timer on and see how quickly you can skim. And then next time when you practice again, see if you can make it quicker. Yeah, if you're new to IELTS and you're new to reading and this type of skimming, don't worry too much about the time just yet. But if you've been practicing for quite a while and you know how to answer these type of questions, then start timing yourself, making sure that you actually are skimming and not scanning. Because a lot of the time when students of IELTS study on their own, they just end up scanning. It's only when there's a teacher telling them, okay, you've only got 1 minute to skim, that they read quicker. Okay, so timing yourself will help with this. Okay, so now we've read the titles, the heading titles, and we've skimmed the paragraphs, so we kind of know what we're looking for. Yeah. Okay, so another good way for you to practice a headings match. So the next time you have a reading, which gives you this sort of question, before you look at the headings, skim the paragraphs and then decide on a title yourself. Okay. Obviously, you can't do this in the exam because there's no time and it'll be a waste of time. But as you're practicing, in order to make sure that you understand the actual gist of the paragraph, writing your own headings will help you. Okay. So what I want you to do is skim this paragraph, so read quickly, and then write me a title that you think will fit with this paragraph. Okay, so you should have finished skimming by now, and you should be thinking about the title. What sort of title would we give this? Good. Okay, so parent-child relationships. Yes. That's a little too vague though. Can we be a bit more specific? You're correct. It is about parent-child relationships, but what particular time are we talking about? So if we look at the first sentence, so it talks about if you're in your 30s or 40s. So are you still a child here? Good, adult children. Okay, so more specifically, we can say it's about adult children. So let's cross that one out. So parents and adult children relationships. And there's one more thing that we need to mention. Yes, parenting with adult children. So because we're talking about children, it's plural. We don't need the article, remember? So parent and adult children relationships. Yeah, but more specifically, they're talking about family celebrations. Yeah, so parent, adult, children relationships and family celebrations. So they're the key words. Yeah, they're the key subjects, if you like, for this paragraph. So how can we write this into an actual title? Because at the moment we've just got keywords. It's not a title. So how can we change these words into a complete title? Okay, so we could say something like advice on dealing with parents, parents and adults. The attitude or behavior of parents towards the adult kids. Yes, that's partially correct, but again, we need to be a bit more specific. So we could say advice on dealing with parents and adult children during family celebrations. Okay, so this would be a nice little title for this paragraph. Okay, so as you can see, we can just read the first sentence of the paragraph and we can get these ideas. So 30s or 40s, adult children, going back to their family home for every big family celebration, and then problems that have developed with your parents. Yeah, so we got parents, adult children, family celebrations. So as I said before, when you're practicing these types of questions, before you attempt the questions, you should try and skim read each paragraph and then label them yourself. And then when you come to actually attempting the matching themselves, you can also see how close your titles are with the ones that they give you in the test paper. Okay. So remember, when you're practicing, it's not just about doing a test after test after test. Yeah, you need to make sure that you're developing the skills on how to pass the test as well. Okay, any questions so far? None? Okay, we shall move swiftly on. Okay, so another way of developing your skills for matching headings questions is asking yourself certain questions. Okay, so here we have another paragraph, so paragraph A. So first of all, number one, which sentence is the topic sentence? So the one that summarizes the main ideas in the paragraph. So number one, which one is the topic sentence, Ariana? So which one is the topic sentence? Grandparents. Yeah, so the first sentence, almost half of all grandparents lose all contact with their grandchildren after separation or divorce, according to a new report. Yep. So first sentence. Right. Okay, and number 2, does the paragraph as a whole become more specific or more general? Good, yes, you're right. So it becomes a lot more specific. So remember, in any type of paragraph, whether it's in the reading or the paragraph that you're writing, first sentence is the topic sentence, the main idea, and then the rest becomes more specific, and that's where you give your examples and your explanations. And what about number 3? The second sentence mentions the breakup. What does this refer to, and why is the used and not a? So here, the breakup, what is it referring to? Yes, so if a boyfriend and girlfriend, if they break up, means they split up. Yeah, so they are no longer together. So the breakup is here in the middle of the paragraph, but what is it referring to exactly? Sorry. Good. It refers to cutting ties between family break. Yes, you're correct. More specifically, though, it refers to separation or divorce. Yeah. So here in this sentence, so after the grandchildren after a separation or divorce. So specifically, it's referring back to this sentence, okay? So it refers back to this sentence, and then we use the instead of a because it's not new information. Okay, so it's not new information because they've already mentioned it before. Yeah. You'll often find that in English language, we, instead of repeating, so paraphrasing, and also to talk about the same subject or the same topic again, we refer back. Yes? Good. Okay. So not only obviously is it useful to understand how this is used in reading, obviously it will help with the general understanding, but also if you use it in your writing, it will help a lot as well. Yeah. So they could say it found that 42% never see their grandchildren after separation or divorce. Yeah. But then you're just repeating the same words. Whereas this is referring back and using different vocabulary. Okay. So sometimes, for example, maybe you didn't understand the word divorce. So this is a new word for you. When you're reading, you're like, oh, what is divorce? I don't know. But then when you carry on reading, you might understand breakup. So now you understand that the breakup is talking about the same thing. So talking about the divorce. Okay. So the grammar can also help you understand meaning in the reading as well. Right. I think someone just asked me a question on this. Is that correct? How do I look at that? Hello, Janet. I hope you can hear me. Oh. Did you ask me a question? I don't know how to look at that. Oh, there we are. Ah, okay. So Janet, if you can type in the chat box here, it'll be a lot easier. Otherwise I have to, so if you type in here, then you can talk to us on the chat box. Whoop. What's happening? Okay, right. So moving swiftly on. Should we look at this one? Hello, Janet. Okay, so we're kind of running out of time, so I'm going to skip these ones for now. I'll get Alan or Paul to put this up onto the website, and then you can have a practice. So at the end of the slides, you will have your headings, and then you will have an article. Okay, I split the article up so you can read them one at a time, and then you can match the headings. Okay, so before we wrap up, let me do a quick review. Okay, so when you're practicing for headings match questions, so this is when you're practicing in your own time, not in the exam. Okay, so remember you won't have time to do this in the exam, but this is to help you develop your skills for the reading. So one thing you could do is read, or actually skim each. So skim each paragraph and write a heading for each. Okay, once you've done that, you can compare your heading with the given headings. Yeah. So you can see if you're actually getting the main ideas. So if you have the same keywords, so for example, the one we did about the parents, adult children, and celebrations, if you're getting similar keywords, then it means you're on the right track. Obviously, if the article is about family and then you write about chocolate, then you're going wrong somewhere. Okay. So skim each paragraph and write a heading for each. And you can also identify the topic sentence, supporting sentences, and concluding sentence. So maybe you could, if you're doing this on paper, you could highlight the different ones. So topic sentence could be yellow, maybe supporting sentences you'll leave blank, and then concluding sentence you might use green or something. Okay. So skim each paragraph and write a heading for each. Compare the headings with the given headings. Identify the topic sentences and supporting sentences. And then obviously practice the actual matching. And when you're practicing, remember to think about ways of paraphrasing and the use of synonyms. For the headings, okay? So remember, the list of headings you get won't be exactly the same as the vocabulary that you find in the reading. So you need to think about synonyms and antonyms. They might rephrase it, and other ways of paraphrasing. Okay. Obviously, this point, you should only do this when you're practicing. Yeah, you shouldn't do this in the exam because you'll be wasting all your time. But the easier you find to do this, then the easier it is to skim and also to identify the main idea when you're in the exam. Okay, right. Do you have any questions before we go? I'll turn my camera back on. Hello. So any questions about headings match type questions for your reading? It's all clear? Good, excellent. Janet, how about you? Janet's still connected. Hope you can hear me, Janet. Yes? Okay, you only joined 10 minutes ago. Don't worry, we've recorded this and it'll be uploaded onto the link that I sent you earlier, so you can have a look. And I'll upload the PowerPoint as well, so you can just read it as well if you don't want to watch the video. There's some more practices on the PowerPoint that we didn't have time to go through as well, so that's good practice as well for you. Right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, guys. Tomorrow, if you're free at the same time, so 12 o'clock UK time, I'm doing a webinar on IELTS speaking part 3. Okay, so hopefully you can join me then. You're most welcome, Mariana. I hope you got something to take away and that when you practice, it will help you as well. So I shall see you tomorrow, hopefully. If not, I shall see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.